Hey guys, and welcome back to Unified Gaming. Now if this is your first time here, and you enjoy watching ESO gameplay, seeing new builds, or just want to get better at ESO itself, then start by subscribing now and clicking the bell so you don't miss anything. Today I'm sharing with you my Necro PvP battleground healer called Rebirth. This has been used in the Scalebreaker patch, but is also ready for the Dragonhold patch. This healer is focused around having an insane amount of Magicka regen, of which then allows us to spam lots of heal over times to keep our teammates topped up. Now if your teammates happen to get low on health, you can then use your Spirit Mender, the Necro's AoE burst heal, that also includes another heal over time, or use the Resto ult to bring them back to full health really quickly. This means that your team can be really hard to kill if they're staying nearby. Not only that, this healer has great group utility as it can stun people on demand, it can snare and root your team's target, and for those pesky Nightblades, you have Radiant Mage Light to stop them from escaping. It's as if you're playing a snare den, but you have the ability to heal your team and keep them in the fight for longer. Now looking at the race for this build, I have gone with a Breton. I feel Breton is one of the better races for this, as you get more max Magicka, but the main thing that we're pushing is our Magicka regen, which obviously we want to have, and having access to cost reduction also helps further. You could obviously use an argonian as well, and that would be a very strong choice. Alternatively, you could go with a high elf or dark elf. Dark elf probably being slightly better than high elf, as it gives you more of your off stat, allowing you to block a little bit longer. Now looking at those skills, on our front bar we're using a restoration staff, we are using illustrious healing, radiating regen, enduring undeath, invigorating drain, ghostly embrace, and life giver. On the back bar is our sword and shield. You can use a restoration staff if you prefer. We're using beckoning armor, skeletal arcanist, braided tether, intensive mender, radiant mage light, and devouring swarm. This ultimate can be changed however. We're using illustrious healing, as this is a really good healer over time that you can chuck on the floor and it hits all of your team. Radiating regen is a heal over time. It hits you and 3 other people, which is really helpful, so it's fire and forget. Enduring undeath is our burst heal. This gives us a mini burst heal, but it gives us a nice heal over time, and that obviously makes it easier for us to survive, as well as our team. We use invigorating drain for more ultimate generation. This allows us to throw more life givers out. It also does some damage as well, and when you finish the drain you set the target off balance due to the passives in the vampire skill line. We use ghostly embrace. This is a horrible snare, reducing the enemy's movement speed by 50%, and it also immobilizes them in place as well. So if you go invigorating drain, wait for them to CC break, then cast ghostly embrace, they then have to break free once more. At this point your team are generally hitting them, they will die pretty fast. We use Life Giver, as this obviously gives us a really big heal over time and heals everybody nearby, but it also casts those restoration skills listed below. You do want to morph them because it will cast morph versions too. So we've morphed it to Illustrious Healing, Radiating Regen, Blessing of Restoration, which gives us minor resolve and minor ward. This obviously gives it to all of our team as well, which is great. Ward Ally will give us a guaranteed shield and will give a shield to one other person too when we cast this ultimate. So it's worth doing. Now for the back bar we use beckoning armor, as this is our armor buff, but it also pulls enemies to us. Skeletal arcanist is used so we can proc one of our passives, Undead Confederate, giving us more magicka and stamina regeneration. We use braided tether, as we can have access to the corpse gameplay. This is also a really nice heal over time that follows you, and it heals anybody nearby. This also increases our healing done, which is a nice bonus. Intensive Mender is our burst heal. This has a 7484 tooltip. This heals anybody nearby you, not just yourself. It's really cheap to cast, as you can see. And then we use Radiant Mage Light, which has a 12 meter radius. So as soon as people go into stealth, even if they roll dodge, they're still in the 12 meter radius generally and will be pulled out of stealth straight away. You might need to run in that kind of direction though. And we use Bat Swarm because it's a nice ult that you can use to damage people with. Alternatively, you could swap this for Barrier, Reviving Barrier, as this will give them a heal over time as well. And it will also give you Magicka Aid, giving you 10% more Magicka regen. Now for the armor. Next patch I'm running the restoration staff of Potentus. This gives us 5% damage mitigation against other players. We want this in defending to also increase our defense. You can run any enchantment that you like. I currently run the Absorb Magicka one, but you can run anything as I've said already, okay? I then run Transmutation and Wizard's Riposte. I then pair this with Night Flame. So in case you're unsure of the sets, it is Transmutation, Night Flame and Wizard's Riposte. For the glyphs, the weapon glyphs are up to you. The shield, you do want it to be either a health glyph or a prismatic glyph. This allows us to proc Transmutation on the back bar before the fight. Without it, we cannot do this. We then want heavy and medium shoulders, so we get our 5-on-1 passives because we're using light armor. You want Tri-Stat on all the big pieces, that's head, chest and legs. Magicka on all the small pieces, so that's shoulders, waist, hands and feet. For the jewellery, we've gone triple infused, all recovery. This then allows us to reach almost 3000 Magicka recovery flat without any potion active, which means we can spam those heals and keep our team alive. Now if you don't have any of these sets, I have a few alternatives that you may want to try. Transmutation is kind of our defensive set, as is Wizard's Riposte. Transmutation has given us more Magicka recovery though than Wizard's Riposte. You could swap Transmutation for Desert Rose or even Scalebreaker, and you can swap Wizard's Riposte for another defensive set such as Fortified Brass or Swift. Next patch, Swift is better to run than Wizard's Riposte, especially with the skills, but that said, it's really expensive. So I was trying to save some gold. I went with Wizard's Riposte, which I'm currently using, and it's really good. This will debuff the enemy when they hit you, reducing their damage, which makes you tankier as a result, and it makes your team tankier as a result because you've reduced their damage. The same thing as with Transmutation. Now for our Consumables, I'm just using Tri-Stat Food and Tri-Stat Potions. The best potions, however, are potions that give you Magicka and immovability and health. They're called Essence of Immovability. I believe it's Wormwood, Bugless and Columbine off the top of my head, but double check that. These will make you really tanky and hard to kill. As for our Munderstone, we are using the Lady for more defense, and we are a vampire. You can leave this at stage 3 to mean that you don't take any sort of extra damage that you shouldn't do, but I run at stage 4 just for simplicity in all honesty. For the attributes, 48 in Magicka, 16 in health. Now some people will be asking, what could I do if I took this in CP? This is what I would run, but do note that this is not a CP build, it's built mainly for battlegrounds, but it would probably be viable in CP, as are a lot of my builds. Feel free to pause the video where you feel it's appropriate and put the points in as you see fit. I have min-maxed this about 80-90% so far. It could be refined a little bit further, but as I said, I don't use this in CP. Now for just general tips and kind of experience in how to play the build. This is a build that will be focused heavily. You are the healer, the team will attack you quickly. If you don't feel comfortable being hit by 3 or 4 people at once, you will find this quite hard to play. That said, it is innately tanky because of all the damage mitigation passives and buffs we have. Said we have access to obviously minor maim through this set, but also through our skill called Ghostly Embrace, so we can reduce the enemy's damage. We also have Transmutation, increasing our crit resistance, which is always welcomed. We are a vampire, so we can take advantage of the Undeath passive. That's just down here. If you want a bit more defense, you could obviously use the Sidric Ult Temporal Guard and put that on the back bar, giving you some more mitigation there if you'd like. So you can make this work even if you feel a bit anxious about it. In order to survive, in all honesty, it's about keeping your heals down. If you forget to put your heals down, you die. It's as simple as that. Now to stay alive, what I generally do is I normally start on my front bar, so with my restoration staff, and we would push our radiating regen, and this will put a heal on me and everybody else. and I will push it twice just to make sure that everybody gets it. I then push down the AoE hill, so you can see it where the target would be. So if it was the flag, I'd push that over there, and we'd run towards it. As I get nearby, I'll push Ghostly Embrace. This will reduce all the damage over everybody nearby and snare them. And then I can use my Spirit Mender, and he can give our team little burst heals as they're needed. As soon as one of the corpses dies, we then look at it and push our Tether, and then we repeat with our heal over times on the floor, our Radiating Regen, and our Ghostly Embrace. As Radiating Regen and Illustrious Healing take 9 to 12 seconds to expire, it means we can put them down and keep them up, and then we can go and start snaring and stunning people with our Ghostly Embrace and our Vampire Drain. As they're stunned, they cannot hit you, so that's another way to make yourself a bit more tanky and stay alive. As you see in a lot of the footage, by keeping your heals on, you will stay alive and your team will stay alive. For good measure, you can keep on the Skeletal Arcanist if you can maintain it, and that will give you extra Magicka sustain, which makes it even easier to push out the hills. As you can see, currently we're on 2,800 Magicka recovery, and that's no potion. With a potion, it's 3,200. So there's a lot of sustain in this build, which means you can just keep spamming the hills as needed. And as I said, if they happen to get low, you keep your heal over times, switch and push your Ghost, and then switch your front bar and spam your Undeath skill, so Enduring Undeath, and that will go and give everybody a mini burst heal and a big heal over time with all the corpses nearby. If that doesn't heal them quick enough, you can just pop your Restoration ult, and that will top everybody up really fast. The last thing that I found that works really well is if we are pushing into a group of 4 people, and I know my team's a bit uncoordinated, but I have my Restoration ult ready, I will then push in behind them, and when they start getting attacked, I then push the Restoration ult, and then use that to give them about 6 to 8 seconds of kind of invulnerability pretty much, where they can't be killed because they've got too many heals on them, and they can try and eliminate 1 or 2 of the enemy team pretty quick, and then you turn the fight into your favour. So that's kind of the tips and tricks for this kind of build. It's just some sort of experience and stuff to sort of bear in mind. Now I'm going to call the video here. So if you did enjoy this video, obviously like, comment, subscribe. And with that said, I'm going to jump off now. So I'll catch you in the next one. Take care guys. Thanks for watching. Bye.